going on, everyone? Welcome to the No Life Digital Podcast. How are you all doing this fine evening? We're coming at you over on a Thursday, late Thursday. I know, we're a little late. It's been a week or so since we last seen you, but we're here, we're back. It's actually only two of us. It's Jerry's birthday, so make sure you wish him a happy birthday when you get the chance. And yeah, we're coming in. It's just me and Doobie. We're going to talk about some gaming. There's a lot of gaming news going on. We've been playing some new stuff. Lots to talk about there, and then we will wrap it up. I am in. What's up, dude? We haven't bring Doobie on. What's going on, brother? You like it? This is the new office so far. Have you seen my video yesterday that I posted? Yeah, it shows like that. That's like the actual set for the other channel. And I think it looks pretty good. So this is like the No Life set. No, we're in a new house. We're in a brand new house in a new town. Still the same city. We're still in Philadelphia. We moved to a house in a different town or a different like district. Neighborhood. Kids yelling different neighborhood. And ultimately what we were spending before with the rent of the apartment, which was in a pretty good area. Oh, you can't hear Doobie. What? Why can't you hear Doobie? Oh shit. See, I knew we were going to run into technical difficulties. Thank you, Cody, for the heads up. I knew we were going to do that. No, that's not it. Can you talk real quick, Doobie?
Mic check 1 2.
All right,
Mic check 1 2.
All right, he should be good now, right, guys?
Yeah, I mean, you were living on like some prime real, like it's a good area where you were at. So I mean, it was expensive too.
And it was a big apartment. It was a really big apartment. It was expensive. And then I rented an office in the same area on top of that. So that was, you can imagine, it was a pretty penny to live there. So what sold me on getting a house was we were going to be saving money anyway from losing the office, and the mortgage is around the same amount as our rent. So we're basically cutting off like $1,000 a month from just that other
You don't
office.
pay somebody else's mortgage anymore. You pay your own mortgage,
right?
Which is also an investment.
Right. That was really what sold me, because I never really thought of it like that. It's a huge chunk of change that you're pulling out of your bank account, but you're really just putting it in construction.
Yeah, it's the down payment that's like the big, depending on how much your interest is, depending on what the year of your loan, like how long you're taking a loan out for, and a lot of the other stuff. But definitely the down payment is kind of the entry barrier, like any other investment.
Right.
And then of course if you take care of the place, you fix up the place. If you're lucky, the area around you gets, developed more, your property value go up too.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping.
That is why I am totally fine living at home with my mom until when I can buy my own house, because I am not paying somebody else's fucking mortgage.
Dude, it sucks. I mean, if I were to think about the amount, because I've been living on my own since I've been 17. I've been out of the house forever now. And if I were to take all of that money that I spent on rent and utilities and gas and electric and just living on your own, just living expensive, I could buy a second house. You know what I mean?
And dealing with shitty landlords.
Yeah, dealing with
terrible
stolen security deposits. But
I remember we had one landlord. Our fridge broke, and he wound up getting a junkyard fridge and tried selling it to us as, it's a brand new fridge. It was no brand new fridge. It was cheap as fuck.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot.
I mean, you look at Hannibal Buress and what he's done with his tenants. He's a landlord.
What happened with that?
He's a dick landlord.
He's one of those guys?
He's a dick landlord.
All right, I need to find out. So what's the story? Because I saw that.
It was a while back.
Yeah, I saw that. Let me see if I can bring it.
Wow, it's sad that
you type
Google
in Hannibal Buress and it says
Google
landlord.
Automatically, as soon as I type in Hannibal Buress, it comes up landlord.
Yeah. So I guess an article did a They did an expose. Hannibal Buress might be a landlord, but he lives in our head right now.
Yeah, the outline.
Oh, I think he's a landlord of like an apartment complex.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, we're on the topic of renting.
Yeah. All right, here's a Reddit thread. What's up with Hannibal Buress and memes about him being a landlord? Answer. Earlier today, Hannibal came out against rent control and suggested his followers donate to a landlord's organization. All right, well, that's a debate that I'm willing to have. You know what I mean? That's a debate I'm willing to have. At least it's not him, screwing people out of security deposits and
rent. I mean, it's an issue there.
I get rent control. I get why you wouldn't. I get why you don't want rent control. A lot of the reason people buy property is because they want it to appreciate in value. They don't buy property so you can have a good time living in a house. They buy it as an investment so they could sell it at a higher price later. When you control the rent, that diminishes that. And also your property just isn't as valuable as it could be. So you live in Brooklyn. Imagine, the rent control in Brooklyn. You're going to get screwed out of, 50% to up to 200% profit from what you were charging rent, in the 80s to what you're charging rent now in Williamsburg. And that's kind of an interesting debate there. But I also get that you can't go crazy with it. There is a balance. You can't just say, one season later, you're like, okay, we're jacking up prices 35%. If you can't pay it, then you're on the street. You can't have that either. So, I don't know what the answer is. I just know that there are two sides to that coin, and I'm not exactly sure what the right answer is.
I mean, landlord, quote unquote, landlord harassment has an entire Wikipedia article dedicated to just that issue.
Landlord harassment?
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing. My father, and it's either like a bad landlord or a bad tenant, because my father owns like a Section 8 housing. He bought like a super cheap property in the ghetto, basically. And, the people that are renting Section 8, some of them are criminals. Some of them are they just don't have money. And he's had some
right now crack houses.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some horror stories. And like, it makes you feel for the landlord situation. And I mean, this guy, like, the way that he played my dad was like to a T. He knew all of the rules. He knew all the laws about the rights that tenants have in New Jersey, and he basically exploited my dad. And my dad got lucky because the guy ended up getting arrested, and he got out of that situation. Otherwise, my dad wasn't able to pay the mortgage. The guy just was not paying rent for 4, 5, 6 months. My dad's like, I can't afford the mortgage. I don't know what to do in this situation. I have to sue the guy. I can't afford a lawyer either. Eventually,
and even if you sue him, good luck getting the money actually to pay for it. You gotta pay your lawyers now.
Yes, it was just a mess, and the guy never showed up to court, and then he ended up getting arrested, and then that's it. He's out. And this guy had a family, like he had a kid and a wife, and it's a sad situation. But the guy's a piece of shit. There are piece of shit tenants out there. There are piece of shit landlords out there. Yeah. I would never.
I don't think I would ever be a landlord.
There's two businesses I would never do. I would never be a landlord, and I would never own a restaurant. That's basically the two industries, or any hospitality thing. It's just too much. There's too much fuckery that goes on.
I've seen enough Hell's Kitchen and Kitchen Nightmares. Nah.
Right.
Never owning a restaurant.
All you think about are like the fun, good stories of this, but dude, you got to deal with some bullshit.
For every success story, there are at least 25 restaurants that open and close.
Yeah, exactly.
And lose money.
Exactly. Especially on the East Coast, it's really bad on the East Coast. I mean, I'm sure it's bad everywhere, but I know on the East Coast it's really bad.
I will say, I was looking up sushi places because I was thinking about picking up some sushi this weekend, and man, South Jersey, there's a lot of sushi restaurants in the area. My God.
They're probably all pretty good. I've never had bad sushi.
I've had bad sushi once, and it was my fault.
Was it like supermarket sushi?
I got Pathmark sushi.
Yeah, see, you can't do that. That's
not just a supermarket, Pathmark.
People might not know what Pathmark is.
Better off for not knowing what it is.
that I don't even know.
That's like saying I got sushi at Aldi.
Let's see if Pathmark is still open.
I don't even think they exist anymore.
Let's see. The chain was started in 1968. Here you guys can look at this. Let's see. I think it went under.
I had to have.
I think it went under. I remember
Because
when my
of their
Pathmark
sushi.
closed. When my Pathmark closed, it was a sad day because we were there. I was there with my mom all the time. We were a Pathmark family. We were not a ShopRite family. And then it closed, and then we became a ShopRite family.
We've had the same grocery store as far as I can remember in our town, but it's been so many different things, and it's been a ShopRite for the longest time now. But like before that, it was, I think at one point it was an Acme, and then at one point it was a Giant. Then it was a Stop and Shop. Like it was a Stop and Shop for a while.
Yes. Okay. So Stop and Shop takes over. There was a lot of drama in the Pathmark industry here. Stop and Shop sort of took over. The FTC did not allow Pathmark's acquisition plans. It filed for bankruptcy in July 2000. 2001 brought 6 Grand Union supermarkets. In February 2007, it partnered with Wild Oats Market, and then A&P took it over. And then A&P, I think, is a Save-A-Center, and now it's just Save-A-Center. But then the A&P also filed for bankruptcy. So it is essentially, it's gone. It's
to tell you that I had that sushi, it was probably like when I was like 12.
Pathmark, dude.
Pathmark Sushi. Never again.
That place was so dirty. At least my Pathmark was.
No, yeah, they were all pretty dirty.
All right, so I had this debate with my wife. I am trying to tell her that we are a Walmart family. And she is vehemently trying to resist this.
She wants to be a Target family?
Yes.
I can't blame her, actually.
The thing about Walmart is I grew up on Walmart, going to Walmart all the fucking time, and Walmart has never done me dirty. It's never done me dirty. And I want to raise my kids as Walmart kids. And I think there's a stigma because of like the whole Walmart people thing.
Was Walmart for everything or just clothes or...
No, everything. I got
everything?
Video games, clothes, snowboards, bikes, toys, electronics.
So,
you need an HDMI cable, you go to Walmart.
So we didn't go to Target very often, very little to go to Target. We would go to Walmart for, and I still go to Walmart for some things, mainly like socks. I'll go to Walmart. Any immediate things like an HDMI cable, if I really need it right now, I'd go to Walmart.
That's right.
If I try to, cheat the system and try to do some price matching on some bullshit, some sketchy stuff, Walmart. You try to get that price match $10 for a brand new video game for some reason because somebody screwed up. We hit Walmart.
Hell yeah.
When we were like camping as like Boy Scouts,
outdoors
Walmart,
gears. A lot of outdoor stuff.
Dick's if we needed like specific things.
Well, remember, you might remember this too. Remember Sports Authority, I want to say the name of it was?
I know Sports Authority, but I never really went there.
Yeah.
That was like going to Champs. We never went to Champs.
I had a Pathmark, a Tiger Schulman's, and a Sports Authority. And an Easy Video all in the same plaza. It was awesome as a kid going there.
Dude, I went to Tiger Schulman's as a kid.
Dude, the Red Power Ranger was there one year.
Right next to, was it next to Pathmark?
That was probably the one that I was going to, yeah.
It was next to Sam Ash?
I don't know what that is.
It's a music store.
Oh, you're right.
It's right in Cherry Hill.
It's
right in Cherry Hill. No.
Are you talking about the one in Toms River?
No, I'm talking Cherry Hill.
Wow, it might have been like the same exact plaza because it was Pathmark, Tiger Schulman's, Sports Authority. There was
Sam
a music
Ash was
store.
in the corner.
Yes.
There's a Guitar Center there now.
And then there was a
There's a Chuck E. Cheese as well.
Chuck E. Cheese! Yes, there was a Chuck
You know the exact place I'm thinking of.
Yes, dude. Wow.
Yeah, it's right off of 38.
Yeah, but what's crazy is my plaza was the same plaza except in Toms River.
Nice.
That's
crazy. I didn't know that.
How nuts is that? And then there was a TJ Maxx or something
on
the other end.
There's a Vision Center over there too, I think.
Yeah, it was like TJ Maxx.
I don't know what brand, but
it wasn't TJ Maxx in the beginning. It was like
it's literally right before you hit the Cherry Hill Mall.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wow. That's that,
I know
plaza life, dude. That's that plaza life, man.
Dude, man.
Suburban
South
plaza.
Jersey's all plaza life.
Yep.
The malls dominate a little bit, but like most of the malls have died.
Yeah, the malls is more like an older thing. When you get older, you go to the
Cherry
mall.
Hill is like the mall at this point.
Yeah.
Deptford's meh. Morristown is
Yeah, but you're
completely
not that
dead.
far from King of Prussia if you really want to go to a mall.
If I want to cross state lines, though,
Yeah, it's not
I
that far
can.
from you.
Since we're a video game podcast,
It's probably as far from you as it is from me. Maybe a little bit closer to me.
I
But
convinced my parents to take me to the King of Prussia Mall one time as a kid, and that was when I had Pokemon Yellow, and that was to get the Mew.
oh
And you
yeah,
had to go in person with your cartridge in your game to the stand where they had like the people
I remember.
working, and you had to ask them to like upload the data to your cart. Yeah. Pokemon
Hey,
Yellow,
thank you
King of
Shiva
Prussia Mall.
for the subscription. Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty. Wait, didn't you need like a holographic card that you got from watching the movie or something?
I had that too, but you got those from the movie theaters when like
Right.
now when
Isn't
you go,
isn't that how
sometimes
you
they
got
give you a
it though?
poster or something.
I don't remember.
That's how you got the card. If you wanted Mew like on your game, you actually had to go to a
okay.
physical kiosk at a mall, and the closest one that had it for us was King of Prussia.
Yep.
Somehow my parents took me,
They're probably like, hey, let's go to King of Prussia. It's the
and then
dopest mall.
and then that copy of Pokemon Yellow got stolen in the 3rd grade,
Oh, damn.
and nobody fucking fessed up ever. I lost that thing forever.
Who do you think stole it? Out of
I
me
don't.
now.
I am. I dude. I don't remember who was in my.
Come
3rd
on,
grade
you
class.
know who stole it. Out their name right now. They're probably watching.
I can't. That's the thing is I go back
Come
to like
on. All right, first name.
the people that I can think of would do it to have screwed with me, but they didn't really care about Pokemon. And I think somebody. I mean, I knew I had Mew on that, and I probably bragged about it
Oh, and they're like, I'm gonna get a Mew and fucking sell.
because
it for
my
like
Game Boy
$5.
didn't get stolen.
They just took the cartridge.
That's
out?
the thing. If my Game Boy had also been stolen, I know exactly who it would be. They did it to screw me, but they didn't take the Game Boy. They only took the copy of Pokemon, which means they had a Game Boy as well.
Yeah.
And that's when it's like, I don't know, because some of the people
Well,
that had a
couldn't they
Game
just-
Boy were people I trusted.
Couldn't you just like fucking like clone it or something?
I
have
mean,
that?
back in I mean, when you were like 7 years old, you don't know that. You don't really know how to do those glitches and stuff
Oh.
like that. And there's no internet yet for you to
No, you had to get the
discuss
books.
about it.
You had to get the books,
I had all the strategy guides.
the Prima strategy guides.
Oh my god, Prima or
I
what's some of
love
the other
those.
ones?
I used to collect them from all the games that
I
would play.
have a lot of the Final Fantasy and Zelda ones. And they're completely falling apart because they're old as dirt.
I don't. I threw mine out a long time ago.
There was so much misinformation in those guides too.
Well, it was crazy because it was like a third-party company would get these people to get the games early to create these strategy guides, and they would come out the day the game was released, and it's like, holy shit, man, they were pretty in depth. It's pretty crazy that they were able to do that.
YouTube and
That was a
the
whole
internet
business.
has completely murdered that business. That's why most of the ones they actually do make that people buy are collector's editions. There's something niche about having a collector's version of it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked collecting them when I was younger because there was no
Like
video games are new, and this
The
was before
final-
G4. You know what I
the
mean?
Final Fantasy 13, no, it was Final Fantasy 12 strategy guide. You got a random main character on the cover. It was random. And of course, I got one of the worst. I hate that game to begin with, but like those, and like I remember the Zelda one for Skyward Sword had this really nice hard cover.
Prima Games is the largest publishing company of video game strategy guides in the United States, based in Roseville, California.
I wonder what
They
their
are
sales are like these days.
They're basically all online. They're still the largest. They're probably the only ones that still do it, but I would imagine most of it's online.
There used to be just a single section in Barnes and Noble of just video game guides.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that.
And I would always go in and check them out and look up stuff. There would always be one for Myst.
Yeah, dude, like
Oh,
people don't
man,
realize
the missed one.
this was before the internet. This was before G4.
Game Facts.
Yeah, like it was strategy guides, it was demo discs, and it was like Game Informer, and that's an Electronic Gaming Monthly, and that was your gaming news. And
Don't
it was
forget
awesome.
Nintendo Power.
Oh yeah, I was never a Nintendo.
I was
guy.
I was a Nintendo Power fan. Oh, I had.
I'd probably read it, but I'm not buying it.
Have you picked up a copy of Game Informer lately, like a physical copy?
I was getting them for pretty recent.
I still have some.
I get them.
They are so razor thin.
Oh yeah, they're not.
There's nothing left in them.
No. The only reason I had it was because I had a GameStop.
I do the $5 bi-monthly, or every. Yeah, I guess it bi-monthly is every 2 months. I don't know. But
actually, I could probably look at my mail right now and see if there's one in there.
Every 2 months, I do a Patreon for $5 to Nintendo Force, and they still print out like Nintendo magazines that kind of try to capture that spirit of Nintendo Power. It's like $250 a month. I'm like totally fine paying that, and they always come with like a really nice double-sided poster. That's really the reason I'm buying them, is for that double-sided poster.
So you get the subscription?
You just do a $5 Patreon. You get charged every other month, and they send you out kind of they do 6 issues a year, so it's like $5 an issue, but it's not that bad, and it's a lot of information. They're actually decently sized. Usually the information is outdated just because of print.
That's what kind of sucks about today's modern day, is like media is so bad. It's just all internet clickbait bullshit. I mean, like,
you can pick up a newspaper in the morning, and by afternoon, some of those articles are already outdated or not up to par, because the information has traveled so fast.
It's crazy. It's
just a waste of paper at this point.
It's like I don't know. It's crazy because I wasn't just like that with video games. I was like that with a lot of things, and I would always get the magazines, and I would, pester. I would get the little leaflets that you sent in the mail to get the subscription, and I had a bunch like Guitar World and like electronic music and stuff. I was into all
Otaku USA and New Type USA, the two anime magazines. They would always come with like not demo discs, but they would come with like preview discs.
Were you
of episode 1 of a couple of different animes, and you could kind of see what's coming?
Were you an import tuner guy?
I never imported. I know people that had connections with imports where they were fan subbed VHSs.
No, I'm talking about import tuner, like the car.
Oh no,
the car.
I'm talking imports like anime and games. I did have a friend have a modded PS1 and a Japanese Dragon Ball GT Final Bout on PlayStation.
Oh wow!
Because a US copy of that game in like 1999 was like $100 or $150 at GameStop.
I remember I bought a Dreamcast from a neighbor of mine who had it emulated, and it had all the NES and SNES games, and all the Japanese hack Japanese versions. Oh, it was awesome, dude.
The Dreamcast was so bad at like anti-piracy, because you could literally burn a game to a CD disc.
Yeah, that's what
and it would play.
That's what they did. And
they sold it to me
for like
whatsoever.
$35, and I was like, "Oh man, this is awesome."
I actually think that might be one of the bigger downfalls of the Dreamcast, in terms of just like why that system failed. I mean, the fact they were ahead of the time. They couldn't keep up, but their anti-piracy was just non-existent.
I don't think people realize this was the turn of the modern web, and like piracy was starting to get really big. And literally all of my games on Dreamcast were pirated, because you could.
Yeah, it was easy. It was so easy.
You just burned a CD and just.
Because like PlayStation, at least you had to get like a chip, or you had to mod it somehow.
Right. You couldn't do it on PlayStation.
And those systems were easy because you just did a clip thing. But like you couldn't just
you still needed hardware.
If that was for imports, or if you had pirated imports.
Everyone burned CDs at the time. Everyone had a stack of blanks, so you could burn your games, and it was fucking awesome. You go to Kazaa.
So why would you ever buy a game?
You go to Kazaa or LimeWire, you get the ROM, and you burn it.
I've got one ROM site left that I know I can trust, and I will not share it because I do not want it to go down.
It won't. If it's not down now, it won't go down. It won't.
Emu Paradise, I said the same thing, and they're dead.
Are they really?
They have emulators. They don't have any ROMs listed anymore.
What? Wow.
They can't. They got too big.
They need to move to a different country. That's all they need to do.
I mean, Nintendo struck hard on emulation.
Let's see what Nintendo ROMs that they have. You can get N64 ROMs.
Nope.
Let's see. I mean, I see them here, unless you can't download them or something.
Unless something changed.
Yeah, you can still download them.
They must have changed because they took everything down on Nintendo stuff a while back.
I remember. Yeah, Emu Paradise is like the number one that I remember. Dreamcast ISOs. That's what they were called. The ISOs. You need to burn your ISOs. Wow. Those are the days, man. And now you just download the game. You drop your PayPal and download.
And they
might have went down for a little bit, but
they must have moved countries because this. I don't ever remember them being down
for a while.
This was all gone a while back.
Dude was gonna be downloading all his ROMs now.
Nah, I've pretty much got everything I can think of that I need.
I've been out of emulation for a while. I want to throw one up on my phone though.
I'm interested to see. I gotta know where PS3 emulation's currently at because that was such a bad architecture on that system.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm wondering where it's at. I mean, like right now, RetroArch is kind of like the go-to for everything.
Right.
And we are not advocating on this podcast that you go download games illegally that you don't own. If you
is it illegal to advocate for that?
If you own, I don't know, but I'm still gonna put that out there. If you physically own the game, you are in your legal rights to have a copy of that ROM. You are within your legal rights to do that if you own the original, genuine
Is that
copy.
Still true today for some games, though?
That, I believe, as far as I know, that is true. If you own the game legally, you are in your legal rights to dump that for your own preservation.
That might not be true.
As far as I know.
That might not be
unless
true.
Unless that law changed, in which case, we all fucked.
Well, I mean, today's a different age, so
I don't know.
I wouldn't imagine. I would imagine pretty soon they're going to say you can't make any copies of this whatsoever.
You know how many times I've seen that fine print of what's the Millennium Digital Act or whatever, the Digital Millennium Act that Clinton signed in? I've never read it. I have no idea what it means. I've never read that law.
Yeah, it just tried to scare you, like the FBI was going to come to your house if you fucking burned a CD.
Yeah, because Metallica got a little butthurt.
Did you ever get one of those letters from Comcast?
No.
I remember I got one when I was really young.
Actually, I might have gotten one.
I still get them every once in a while. I haven't gotten them since I switched to Verizon. But when I was like, this was like Kazaa era, LimeWire era, I remember getting one, and that scared the shit out of me because that was the first time it was like they had my address, they had my name, they had like all the activity I was doing. And I was just like, and then I found out my friend got one, and I was like, who cares? They're not going to do anything about it. It's like the new millennia thing.
But
it did scare me for a second, man. It did scare me. They shook me.
It's wild. I mean,
it was like cease all activity on your computer, and you could be fined, and you can be fined this much money, and potential jail time. And I remember thinking, like, oh my God, they found out I did everything.
I tell you what site, like, it feels like a great site, but there are so many workarounds to piracy for it. It's Bandcamp.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great site to put your music, to host it, to try to make money off of it, but
you can rip Bandcamp.
They literally just save the MP3s as its own page that if you know how to get to the source, you can just copy and paste that and click save as. You're limited to only getting 128 kbs, but you don't have to pay for anything.
You know what? That makes sense because I go to a lot of blogs, and they have like the albums there for like indie bands that they're not putting them up on iTunes, they're putting them out on demo and Bandcamp, and they're getting them and they're ripping them. I'm like, there's no way they're buying these CDs and burning them.
Of course, you're limited to the quality that you can get. If you want higher quality, you're gonna have to pay and then download it as an FLAC or 320. Yeah. But if you just want 128, you just want the song, you don't have to pay. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that I do it. I'm not saying that I don't do it. I'm just saying that they have a flaw.
I'm going to look it up. Is it illegal?
You're not.
To endorse piracy. Because people say that all the time, but I don't know if it's illegal.
FBI going to be knocking on my door next thing I know.
Yeah, but you're just endorsing it. You know what I mean? You're not.
I didn't say how to do it.
Yeah, you're not doing it. You're not providing any information on how to do it, even though we did just do like a 5-minute segment.
Believe me, when you put this on YouTube, they'll scan the friggin' the auto captions, and they'll just demonetize us anyway.
Yeah,
you can't mention the word coronavirus without having
we can't even be monetized on YouTube anyways. We don't even have enough stats.
I saw somebody. They literally just talked about the coronavirus and why it's affecting games, which we'll get into, and YouTube just straight up limited his monetization on that video.
YouTube is a goddamn mess.
It
is a mess.
They don't want you to talk about anything. What's the old bit from not Monty Python? It's Mel Brooks. Takamata. You can't Takamata. Face it, you can't talk about anything.
Yeah, YouTube is a mess, and someone needs to quickly come out with an alternative video hosting website. I cannot believe YouTube is still the only one.
How is like Dailymotion or Vimeo or any of these other like side ones not taking advantage of this and promoted themselves?
I know. They don't have a social aspect. YouTube thrives because there's a social aspect, and they have a great algorithm that recommends videos. That's huge. When you log into YouTube, you have your subscription list. It displays them right in your face, and that's it.
Do you think Twitch would ever expand into the hosted video market?
We were talking about it. It would make so much sense if they did, and I don't know why.
With the quality of their live streaming,
it would make so much sense. It doesn't matter
because that's the thing with like YouTube. When I think of YouTube,
the amount of people that watch Twitch,
I think of
the amount of people that watch Twitch is about this big. The amount of people that watch YouTube is the size of this fucking house. You know what I mean?
And I think the
numbers are just not even close.
Well, because hosted video is easy for replayability. It's easy for watching it whenever at your leisure. Mm-hmm. The VODs on Twitch are just not that great, and they're embedded like they're on mobile.
And they disappear in like a week, right?
Even if you have Partner, even if you have the ability to save them forever as collections, they just take so much more memory. If you try to play on your phone, it's going to take way more resources than YouTube does.
Yeah, YouTube
they have less. I mean, I was a person like, I mean, I don't know. I kind of life hack shit where like if I listen to podcasts for the most part, I'll listen to it at like 1.1 speed just to play it a little faster. If I watch a YouTube video, a lot of times I'll bump it up to 1.25 because there's not a big difference, but I am saving time because I have things to do.
You are a crazy person. I think people who do that are literally insane. You're not saving any time. How much are you saving? 2 minutes?
Listen, I'm trying to watch a full playthrough of a friend's playthrough of a game. I'm going to bump that to 1.5 if there's 100 separate 30-minute videos. Okay?
That's a little different. I'm thinking like you're listening to fucking like Mark Maron, what the fuck, on like.
Well, that's why I put it at 1.1.
Okay.
For like different. My podcasts, as long as it's not like music podcasts. Because I'm saving myself like 6 minutes. But that's 6 minutes I could be watching a video later. Listen, I got my media on point at work.
I can't believe people do that. When I found that out, because there was like Luminary there's Luminary and there's another podcasting app that charges money to allow that feature, and I'm like, who the fuck listens to podcasts at anything other than one time?
Who charges for that feature? Just get Podcast Addict.
I think it's called. There's a few.
It's free on that one.
There's like Pocket Casts.
No, I use Podcast Addict.
Yeah,
I'm also on Android, if that matters.
No, Pocket Cast is Android and web. That one chart, and that's a popular one. There's a few other ones that do it too. There's other features that come with it. It's not just that feature. But I remember I found that out because I was like, why are people paying for podcasting apps at all?
I only paid once
I found that.
For a music app. I paid for the premium version of Black Player on Android.
What the fuck is that?
It's just an MP3. It's their MP3 player.
You got scammed? That's what happened.
No, it would allowed for more like importing. It allowed for different things with equalizers. It was like $1.99. I didn't care.
Hey man, those $2 apps are awesome. You guys want to make money? Trust me, $2, $3 apps make things simple. Make someone's life easier with the app. And you will sell a lot of it, and you'll make a lot of money doing it. I mean,
just look at Spotify. They do.
People have no problem paying a couple bucks for some convenience, especially when it's on their phone and they're, bloop, Done. A couple bucks, whatever. I do
Like
it
a
all the time.
Pokemon Home. Yeah, $16 a year.
Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. All right. Actually, speaking of which, let's get into some gaming. We've been rambling too long.
Yeah, no, we've been gone for a while.
All right. I don't want to talk about Wilson. I want to wait for Jerry before I talk about that because that is an ARPG, PC ARPG, similar to Path of Exile. I've been playing it. It's fun, but I want to talk about that when Jerry's here. But I do want to talk about Scourgebringer. Scourgebringer. What am I doing here? Oh, I see. You just added that in. I was like, what the fuck did I just do? All right, so I got some gameplay footage I'm gonna put up on the screen. Shout out to the new dual PC setup I got going on. This is sick, bro. So Scourgebringer is an awesome roguelike. And it's made by the Transistor Bastion team. What do they call it? Supergiant. It's made by the Supergiant team. It's a hack and slash roguelike, and it is just so much fun. And thank you for
Supergiant as in Hades.
Hades. I'm lying. This is not Scourgebringer. Fuck, man. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
I didn't think they had another game besides Hades currently going.
Hades is the game.
By the way, I'm a huge Supergiant Games fan. Transistor is one of my all-time favorite indie games. It is. If you haven't played Transistor out there, it's cheap. Buy it. It's fantastic. If you haven't played Bastion at this point, the music alone in Bastion's worth the money.
Yeah. So they have Hades out, and I've been playing Hades. I have been playing Scourgebringer as well, but I'll talk about that after this. I've been playing Hades, and I have been loving it. I mean, Supergiant, like you said, Transistor is excellent. Bastion is excellent. What's the other one that they had? There's another one too. There was
a third one that was God, I can't remember. I didn't play that one. I need to play Hades. I know I need to get into that, but
let me find out. I need to find out because Pyre is the other one. Yes, Pyre, Transistor, Bastion. Yes.
I'm just on their website. They got a deluxe 10th anniversary vinyl collection. Ooh.
I will say right now, I think Hades is probably my favorite Supergiant game. It's a very fast-paced Bastion-like roguelike, and it's just so much fun. The art direction, the art style is very Supergiant-like. I don't know why this keeps freezing. I think it's because my internet.
If you want to spend $300, here's a way to do it. It's limited edition of 1,000. It's Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre soundtracks on 12 LP set with a 7-inch bonus Hades, full digital downloads.
$300. You're out of your mind.
That's a lot of money.
Hell yeah.
It's sold out. Never mind.
Oh my god. Hey man, the music in all of these games is fantastic. So I don't blame anyone for doing that. Yeah, Hades. I don't know. I think it's like $30, so it's kind of pricey right now. It might be like $25. It's up there in terms of like indie games. It's up there in price, but it is a blast. If you like roguelikes and you like action RPGs, you like hack and slash games, this one's just so much fun. I love the what is it called? The voiceovers. I think that whoever does Hades and whoever does like some of these gods, they've nailed so good, man.
They've nailed that aspect of like your character not really talking, but having that narrator in the background, like the older gruff voice for the Bastion, where he's just like the kid.
Right, the way they do it with Transistor too, right?
Mm-hmm. Where it's like the sword. It's so well done.
With this one, your characters talk. There's full on dialogue, and it's so good. Like the acting and the voiceovers are just really really good. The way the combat works is pretty cool. So it's a roguelike and it just constantly changes. You get a bunch of different unlocks every time you go through the level. You're going to constantly keep playing the same levels and you're going to die and you're going to come back to life and you're going to keep playing the same shit. But that's part of the fun, that's part of the game, is to try to get to the point where you beat that boss, move on to the next level, you die, then you start all the way over, then you have to beat the boss again and then you just continually get stronger. And the way that you level up is that you get these sort of buffs from different gods. So like Poseidon has his own set of buffs. Ares has his own set of Hades. Actually, I don't know if Hades has his own buffs, but there's a few other gods that just I can't. There's like Artemis. There's a bunch of them. There's so many. I can't remember off the top of my head, and they all kind of have like their own theme, and it's just really fun, and it's a really cool take on the roguelike genre that I haven't seen done before. And I play a lot of roguelikes, and I think this is one of the better ones so far. It's in early access, so I don't know exactly how much content is in this game currently. So I don't know. I haven't gotten too far. I've only gotten past, I think I've gotten up to the second boss. It's pretty difficult. So, it might take me a while to get through the game, but so far I've been having a great time with it. And I think you guys should definitely check it out if you enjoy just fast pace. You just need something to play. You got $30. You need something to play. I recommend this 100%. Also, Scourgebringer. I don't know how to pronounce it. I can't say this word. This is a game that the best way that I could describe it is Celeste meets Dead Cells. And it is fucking fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. It's $15. If you have Microsoft Game Pass, which I do, it's free. And you can get it on your PC or you can get it on your Xbox. And it's Celeste meets Dead Cells. It's the best way I can put it. Very, very fast, very like pixel perfect, very quick, twitchy platforming and fighting, mixed with like this Dead Cells sort of like combat with like parrying and dodging and rolling. It's so good. I don't have any footage of it.
This looks exactly like Celeste.
Yeah, it's very similar.
The art style is extremely similar.
The way that you run and the way that it feels, it's really, really cool. The problem is that it's a preview right now. They're calling it a game preview. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Early access on Steam.
It's like less early access. There's really not enough content to warrant $15 purchase. Like I'm pretty much done with it. I played it in like one afternoon. But in that time, all I wanted to do is have more of it. I want to play more Scourgebringer. So I'll have more content for you once this game is actually released, which I don't know.
These boss fights look like I'm on the Steam page. These boss fights look dope.
Yeah, so there's like the way that it works is you go through this map, which is procedurally generated. They have all these enemies. There's different drops. It's another roguelike, so you're going to die. You're going to start all over again, and that's just part of the progression. And the way that it works is there's like mini bosses that unlock these doors. When you unlock the door, then you fight the level boss. Once you beat him, then you move on to the next world, and you continue that way. When you die, you go back to this tree. That's where you get your permanent upgrades, and then you go through the world again. The whole game is to try to find the best path to finishing and finding the right sort of combination of skills with luck. Like, there's a lot of different drops out there, so you want to find the right combination of things.
Do you have health, or is it one hit KO?
Nope,
okay,
you have health. You have health. You have a certain amount of hits. You have buffs that can increase your health. You have buffs that can increase your resistance. You have things that can like deflect back things. You have a parry system, which is so fun, and it's like pixel perfect. So you have to parry correctly. It's not just like you can't cheese the game. If you don't parry it on time, then you're gonna get hit. And when you get hit in a roguelike, it becomes a little, it's like the Sekiro effect, right? You don't have much left to go on. You're not going to find health. Health is very rare. When you do find health, it's very expensive. So you really have to preserve yourself through these levels because you're just not going to be able to heal yourself. You got to watch your back and make sure that you're good at the game. And it's so much fun. I've been loving it. Unfortunately, there's like 2 levels. So two like little hubs. And, there's just not enough content right now.
Steam supports full controller support and remote play on TV. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I got it. I got it through the Xbox Game Pass on the Xbox app on PC. So I've been loving this Xbox Game Pass, dude. I love all these these passes.
At this point, it's hard for me to say it's not worth the money. It's
a new game comes out. And you're like, oh shit, I got a new game comes out. Let me think about buying it. You don't have to think about it. It's just you just download
Sony
it.
Needs to up the damn game because where Microsoft is killing it is that Games Pass.
What if Nintendo offered you like $30 a month maybe even less than that, $20 a month, because it would be like $20 a month. And every new Nintendo title that came out, you just had it. You didn't have to worry about buying it. I probably would get something like that if they had the drip of games that Xbox has.
They got a drought right now.
Yeah, that's the thing with Nintendo. They kind of...
Well, not right now, but a drought's coming as far as we know.
Yeah, Nintendo, you get like one or two big titles.
Now, if they did
that might not be worth it.
We've discussed this in the past multiple times. If they did a Netflix-style subscription with their past library.
Yeah.
With like all of the NES, SNES,
and because what they're doing, I think.
Because what they're doing right now, where it's the Nintendo Switch Online, you get your NES and SNES games, but they've given us like
5,
barely any since they dropped it. There was 4 new ones, but they were like titles I've never heard of.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. Like, I have Origin Game Pass, I have the Xbox Game Pass, and I think that's it. And the EA one has been great. Like, Jedi Fallen Order came out. I didn't have to buy it. You don't have to go through the thing like, is it worth it? I got to watch the reviews. You know what I mean? You just download it. It's ready to go. You download it. Chances are you're going to download it the night before. So you don't have to wait.
Is The Witcher 3 on Games Pass?
No. Doesn't
that should be.
Doesn't. No, it doesn't. It should be. It should stay $60 forever. It's worth it every single time.
I didn't even buy it for $60. I bought that for like $30. I know it might have been cheaper than that.
It got a big update on Switch too recently.
It did, and it runs apparently even better. And that company that did that, what's the company's name?
We talked about them on this channel before.
Something interactive. It's like the same company that made it's not the same company. It's the same name that did like Power Rangers.
Saber Interactive.
Saber. I always think of for some reason I always think of Power Rangers when I hear that name. But yeah, they just got bought by what's that company? I'm trying to think of the company that bought them. Not
THQ Nordic.
THQ Nordic, who's just acquiring everyone right now. They've bought like 18 companies.
Didn't they buy Rockstar? Or no, I don't know. That's Take-Two. That's Take-Two.
But they own the Time Splitters IP. They're buying all these old IPs as well. And they could be like looking at like to be the company that just revives old games.
That'd be cool.
I mean the job that the Saber did with Witcher, and the job that there was another port team that did the guys who did the Wolfenstein and Doom ports to Switch. They're also like really good at porting Switch games apparently.
Yeah, they enabled like PC cloud saves with Witcher Switcher,
which I think is that is
awesome.
where you're going to corner the PC market if you're Nintendo. Yeah. If you have a way to have third parties who are on PC able to transfer their saves back and forth between PC and Switch, you're now selling them that portability.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. More games need to do that.
Hell yeah, dude. Absolutely. I just don't expect Nintendo to do anything when it comes to online anymore. My expectations are very low. All right, and you want to talk about Judgment? You're up to chapter 8.
Yeah, so this was a game I started a while back. If you know the Yakuza series, this is by the same creators of Yakuza. It's set in the same location as Yakuza. It takes place after Yakuza 6, but it has nothing to do with the Yakuza games. Like, none of the characters cross over. It's its own isolated story, but it plays
Peggy 18
like the Yakuza games. And then there's also investigation stuff.
I'm all done.
I started it. I got to like the first chapter.
Where's our guy going?
Pretty neat. And over the last week, I'm on chapter 8 now, and boy, it's a wild ride. This is a game like I'm right now. I haven't even beaten it yet. If you like good beat 'em ups, if you like games with tons of side content with really quirky humor, and a lot of mini games, just when this goes on sale, pick it up. It's great. And if you haven't played Yakuza, play Yakuza. It's great.
Do you think it's a better Yakuza, like a more updated, better Yakuza?
I've only played Yakuza.
I tried
Kiwami
playing
1
Yakuza,
and 2,
and it's just dated. Like, it just felt too dated. I couldn't finish
Which one did you play?
The first one. The first remake that they did.
So Kiwami 1?
Yeah.
So Kiwami 2 is in a different engine. And they're a little dated. I haven't played Yakuza's 5.
Is this like a more updated Yakuza, I should say?
The gameplay in terms of battle, in terms of fighting, is Yakuza. It's very much Yakuza in terms of like how you're gonna fight. You're gonna, I do find that random encounters are kind of just boring at this point because I'm overpowered. But the boss fights I have fought are fun.
What about like the story?
The story in this has been really like there's now a government conspiracy happening.
Is it all right? Let me ask you.
I'm in for the ride.
The problem I had with Yakuza is that it was too goofy. The story was too convoluted, and it just didn't grip me. It was fascinating at a point, but then they kind of leave it. They kind of just like go off in this tangents all over the place. Is this a little bit more, cohesive?
This one's definitely more cohesive, and I do think. And remember, side content, is kind of going to happen. These games are kind of notorious for trying to continue the main story, but all the side missions keep distracting you. But the way that it's handled, being kind of like an investigations game where like you're investigating a story, you play as a not a detective, you play as a former lawyer who is now a PI. He's a private investigator, and it does it in a way that like this twists and turns. But I don't want to say noir, but it's very much in that style of like you're kind of trying to get to the bottom of this mystery. You're trying to catch this killer, and now like all of these things keep twisting and turning. There's a new throw in. Why did this happen? And without spoiling anything, of course, I think the story is easily followable, but it's also twisty and turny. And I'm a fan of like mystery movies. Like I like a good murder mystery.
Is it less goofy and corny?
There's
than Yakuza?
There's goofy parts. But I wouldn't. And then like most of the goofy stuff is the side missions. That's where like the real kind of wacky humor, weird Japanese things happen. Where you fight a guy who's a giant who's pretending to be a baby because that's his kink. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not part of the main plot. As far as the main plot goes, there's only been like one kind of goofy moment. But other than that, it's pretty good. And like I said, the side missions are all that really goofy, weird, creepy perverts that you fight and stuff.
I mean, it looks like an updated Yakuza, so I'm kind of
that's interested. What it is. And actually, I'm kind of hoping that
I just want the story to be more gripping than Yakuza was. I wasn't.
Do you like murder? Do you like murder mystery?
I do.
Because that's the thing with Yakuza is I feel like as Western audience, we don't really fully grasp a lot of the cultural significance of what Yakuza stand for. What a lot of the things that go on, cutting the pinky, and the Yakuza games kind of know that. With their audience in Japan being like they would know who the Yakuza are. They would know a lot of this stuff already.
Oh, by the way, before you continue, there's a show on Netflix called Hiro Hanji or something like that. What is it called? You need to watch it. Fucking Hiro Hanji? I forget the name of it. It's
because we have the mafia here, but like the mob and the Yakuza are completely different, really. Like they're similar, but there's so many cultural things that are completely different. This like Judgment has some of Yakuza stuff in it, like
Giri Haji. All right, so Giri Haji is about this detective or this cop whose brother is in the Yakuza. And then he ends up in London, and it's this Japanese Yakuza crime mystery drama that's directed by a British guy, but focused around Japanese Yakuza culture. And it is fantastic. If you need something to watch, I highly recommend you check it out. I watched the entire series in like a weekend.
Sounds like something I'd be into.
You would love it. I'm telling you, you would really enjoy it. It's awesome. Yeah. And like the last scene, like the way the last scene ends is like, I cried. It was like a beautiful scene. I mean, it's such a great show, and it's really underrated right now.
Like I said,
All right, so
I can't
continue.
speak. I can't speak for Yakuza 3, 4, 5, and 6. I haven't played them yet. Yakuza 5 just came out, so I'm going to be picking
Yakuza just
that
feels
collection
too
up.
old. It just felt too old to me, and I just didn't want to finish it.
I think this is a good one because it's a standalone title, so you don't need to have played any of the Yakuza games to kind of understand what's going on. And it's definitely interesting with its mystery and turns. Like, I'm suspecting certain people, some people are being framed that I don't think did the crime. I recommend it. I'm hoping with the changes to the Yakuza games, where the new one, the 7th game, it's not out in the West yet, it's in Japan, but it's now an RPG. It's not your Yakuza traditional fighting game anymore, like your brawler. I would like for them to continue the Judgment series and continue making those games as a side game.
You're saying it's an RPG? Is that what you just said?
Well, the new Yakuza 7.
Oh, okay.
Is an RPG. It's actually like a turn-based RPG.
Oh.
Which is weird, I know. Especially after like with Zero and Judgment being like 8 games in that Yakuza style.
And you like this style better.
Well, no, I haven't played the Yakuza 7. I want to. Like, I'm a huge RPG guy. I would like it if they continue the Judgment series to retain that old Yakuza style gameplay, that beat 'em up brawler gameplay. And then keep the main Yakuza titles that they're making now as that RPG that they're messing around with.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Judgment's a really good, like, I feel like it could be a good series. Like, not just, like, escape the shadow of being, oh, this is like Yakuza, and be like, no, this is Judgment.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of cool murder mysteries they can do.
It looks like Yakuza, but it also doesn't at the same time. You know what I mean?
It's like the easiest way to say it's Yakuza meets Ace Attorney.
Okay.
Which is weird, but it works.
Yeah, and then there's all these like fighting things. I'm watching like this combat thing now. I might have to check it out because I do like Yakuza. It just did feel a little too dated, and I just wasn't interested enough to finish.
It's a PS4 exclusive, but I do hope that it might make its way to PC. Like,
what is this move? This like guy just humped him to death. There we go.
Yeah, Yagami is a cool protagonist, and the English dub's actually really good.
Okay, good.
Matt Mercer does the voice of Yagami.
Do you do the dub or do you do the?
Most of the Yakuza games are not dubbed at all; they're all in Japanese. But I was like, I'm going to try out the dub because I recognized a lot of names from other games, and they give good performances. No, it's a really well done dub.
I might have to check it out.
Surprising, actually.
I think I will check it out. How much is it? Full price?
I don't know if it's on sale. It's been a while since it came out, but it's gonna be probably going on sale eventually, if not already.
Let's see. Let's see if we can find a price for it. It's full price. They're still asking full price for it. Is it worth full price?
If you like Yakuza, yes. You can also get it for $45 on Amazon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But do you get a code or are they going to send you the game?
Get it. I have no idea. It says only one left in stock, so I assume the game.
Oh my god, nah. Just download it at that point.
You want your digital? I mean,
we're gonna wait for it. I'm gonna wait for the game to come, and I can just download it.
Free 1-day shipping. Come on. Free delivery by Saturday.
I don't know.
Yeah, wait 2 days for it. Not even 1.5.
No, I don't know. I might as well pay for the fucking $15.
I'm a Yakuza fan, so.
Me too. I mean, not a diehard fan, not the biggest fan, just because it was a little before my time. I feel like I would have loved it when it first came out. But all right, IGN gives it an 8.2. If you guys wanted to know, it's a great game. They love the Yakuza series. All right, let's get into news. Let's get into news. Persona 5 Scramble streaming rules even more ridiculous than Persona 5. Oh boy.
So you remember how when Persona 5 came out that we all kind of laughed at their streaming rules?
Yeah.
You can't stream past this date in game, and you can't do this, you can't do that, don't spoil anything. My favorite line, I'm going to pick this one out for you. And this is completely screws anybody that owns the Switch, by the way, if they ever wanted to stream it. Let's see, where is it? It's uploading gameplay. No, okay. Do not use gameplay. There's one. I'm trying to. Where is it? Yeah, if Atlas requests you remove the video, remove the video. There's a thing where it says like you can't. You hear this. Atlas will not allow screenshots or videos captured via personal capture cards.
Why?
Because they're archaic. Because Atlas Japan has no idea what they're doing. They just have a complete disconnect with their Western audience.
That makes me not want to ever play a Persona game ever again.
And that's the thing is they're not going to do anything. They didn't do anything with Persona 5.
So how are you supposed to stream it?
Stricter. So on PS4,
you have to stream it from the console.
By streaming from the console. Switch doesn't have native streaming.
But that doesn't make sense because the PS4 technically has a capture card in it. I mean, it's encoding off of a capture. You need hardware encoder.
And you can only upload videos to sites supported by the sharing features on Switch and PS4.
What's stupid is that
they're not going to upload your
no one's going to
30
listen
seconds
to that
at a time.
Because
because the Switch capture is 30 seconds of video. You can capture your playthrough of Persona 5 Scramble and upload it 30 seconds at a time straight to Twitter.
No, this is what's gonna happen. People are just gonna fucking stream it or upload
they're
it.
Just they're going to stream it because Atlas isn't.
They're gonna use that as an excuse to take down as many videos as they can.
Atlas isn't gonna do a damn thing.
You don't think so?
They're not gonna do anything on Twitch. They won't. Atlas Japan. The only reason Atlas USA even said anything when Persona 5 came out was because they had to appease Atlas Japan, who just don't understand the idea. It's like Nintendo and streaming. Like they just don't understand the idea of streaming, because streaming in the West is much different than streaming in Japan.
Why is Japan so far behind on this type of stuff?
I'm not sure.
It's not just Atlas. It's Nintendo. Nintendo was the same way for a while. It's like it doesn't make.
There's something with like protection of IP. There's something with like the art. I don't know.
I would much rather them say you cannot stream. We do not want you to stream this game, and we resolve the right to take down your video if you do stream it.
And that's the thing is like streaming is like it's almost like free advertising. Really,
it's the best promotional tool.
Especially if somebody really likes it and they're gonna gush about it. That is more swaying power. If somebody that you enjoy watching, enjoy something, has more swaying power than a score on a website in terms of you buying something.
Uploading gameplay to sites that require subscription services or payment to browse is counted as using gameplay for monetary purposes. So you can't make any money from streaming this game. Do not use the gameplay footage to slander other people.
I don't know about that one. I think that's more like if you do like a Twitch thing where there's a feature on Twitch where you can lock videos to only subscribers, like VODs to only subscribers can watch, or I think maybe hosted videos or something like that. That would be considered this. But since you don't need a subscription to watch any Twitch channel live,
it doesn't say just subscription though,
or payment.
Yeah,
subscription service or payment. So Twitch, you don't have to pay to watch a Twitch channel.
They don't want you making any money off of streaming this game. If you're gonna stream it, first of all, you can't.
It's
unless
so
you stream
dumb.
it from the PS4. Uploading gameplay to sites that require. Or I already just read that.
Videos that Atlas deem are unacceptable will be deleted or taken off from viewing.
Yeah, they can
what
just
does
deem
that
anything
even mean?
unacceptable. I don't know. Queries into this matter may or may not be answered by Atlas.
Why even list that?
If the streaming or uploading of gameplay leads to monetary loss, Atlas does not hold any responsibility, nor will they pay any monetary compensation.
And here's my favorite. They spoil the fact there's a post game.
Yeah.
Players are not allowed to share anything about the game's end game or anything afterwards. So you've now just confirmed you have a post game. I didn't know that. Thanks for spoiling the game for me, Atlas.
This is so dumb.
I'm just being a fucking dick.
It makes me not want to play a Persona game. It really does.
And this is my problem with Atlas Japan. I think they have a big disconnect with the Western audience because we're not their primary consumer base. Japan is. So they're gonna do things with Japan with Japan in mind. We're not gonna get simultaneous world releases. because translation takes a long time. They would rather get the product out immediately to the consumer base that's going to buy it faster and more of it than we are, because we're the secondary consumer base. It wasn't until Persona 5 that like the Persona series actually saw some kind of semblance of a major traction in the West. Mm-hmm. Before that, you had Persona 4, Persona 4 Golden on the Vita. Like, people that like those games love those games, but they weren't big games. They weren't big sellers. Persona 5 broke through. And I don't know if Atlas Japan is just wary of that, thinking maybe that was like a one-trick pony.
These Japanese developers get away with way too much sometimes, man. They really do.
We're not their main concern. We're not their main consumer base. They don't really give a shit about us. I know they're the business to begin with, so they don't give a shit about us to begin with.
Right.
But we're even lower than that. You know, if they sell to us, that's great. They probably already made their money in Japan. We're the cherry on top.
No, they're just being really weird about their IP, and it's very archaic and it doesn't make any sense. And to be honest, like I don't know. I think a lot of these Japanese developers get away with way too much. Like
Persona 5 Royale.
That DBZ Kakarot game is so fucking bad. It's just laughable, man.
Persona 5 Royale sold under their expectations in Japan. I don't know what their expectations are for the West, but if they want to sell more copies of that game, putting it on the Switch. And I don't know what's going on, because there's no place that cites anything about them having an actual deal with Sony to keep those exclusive.
They don't. That would be public knowledge. I mean, if they have investors, you would know.
So, and that's like, why are they not putting the game or working to put that game on the Switch? They're putting Scramble on the Switch. Essentially, the sequel to Persona 5 is on a console that the original base game Persona 5 is not on.
Yeah,
and they want to sell more copies. You put that on the Switch, it's a perfect game for portability. I don't understand. And like, we had this worker from Atlas West who said, "Oh, just keep asking for it." And she even mentioned, "I'm not speaking on behalf of us as a company. I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a fan. But you need to keep saying things on social media to try to push Atlas Japan to make the decision." Because Atlas West has no power over that. All of the decisions come from Atlas Japan. But, and if there is an exclusivity deal for some reason that we don't know about, the only reason I can see them putting this stuff on surveys and asking us to keep voicing our concern is as a negotiation tactic. So they can make more money on their next exclusivity deal.
Atlas US is probably just like a distribution chain. You know what I mean? Like,
that's pretty much all it is.
They have no say over anything that goes on with
distribution and promotion.
Yeah.
That's it. They're a glorified PR marketing firm.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are. And I mean, they're just like, look, we know we're going to sell a lot more if we put it on Switch, so pester Atlas Japan about it. And it's just,
for some reason, Atlas Japan is just not. I guess I don't know if they don't
the same happens in the camera world with these Japanese companies like Canon and Fuji. They do the dumbest things. They just do the dumbest shit.
And they have great products.
Yes, it makes you scratch your head.
Great products.
It makes you scratch your head.
But there are business decisions that they make or don't make that just. I'm not even a business expert, and I'm already telling you they're losing money. By not porting games onto the Switch. It just going to print money.
Doesn't make any sense.
There's no Vita anymore in Japan. There's no Vita in the West. There was never a Vita in the West to begin with.
It's like
that they like to port their games onto.
You know what? I think the Japanese don't want to give you they don't want to give you it all at once. They want you to just constantly yearn after their shit. So they give you, DBZ Kakarot, which is filled with just mindless, fucking Superman N64 flying missions.
I guess there's a culture difference. I don't know.
It's not even that. I don't know. It's like it's just their business tactics are just, we're going to hold back and we're only going to give it to you when we feel that we don't have anything else to give you. and
one of the arguments I've seen about, like, oh, if you want Persona 5 to be on the Switch, you have to buy Persona 5 Scramble to show your support. And I'm like,
no, that's not how it's going to work. I don't want to
buy that on the Switch because the load times are garbage.
No,
I want to get on the PS4
works.
where the load times are not as garbage. They're still bad,
That's
but
not
they're
how it
not
works.
super bad.
Canon recently, their new R5 that's coming out is loaded. It has every spec we always wanted from Canon, and it's because their cameras just weren't selling well. So if you want them to really put Persona 5 on Switch, then you cannot buy Persona 5 on PS4. When you buy Persona 5 on PS4, they're going to hold that Switch version off for years and years and years until finally they can drip some extra cash out of you. You have to
I'm buying
hold back.
Persona 5 Royale on PS4.
Yeah, and you're never going to get it on Switch if you keep doing that.
I'm fine. I mean, like I said, the load times on Scramble, I don't know if you saw that demo. I think we talked about it, but like those load times were up to like a minute on the Switch. It was
I have no
not
interest in
good.
that. I have no interest in waiting a minute for anything.
I'm not trying to sit there and wait a minute for a load screen.
So
we saw what that did to Anthem.
Don't buy it. Don't buy it on Switch. Don't buy it on PS4 if you really want. I don't know. That's just how it works with these Japanese companies, man. You have to you cannot buy their shit if you want what you want from them. It takes forever.
So all right. That covered the next one. So this one, Catherine, speaking of Atlas Japan,
I played
Catherine Full Body is coming to the Switch.
Yep.
And XCOM 2, apparently. They got rated, so we don't know when they're coming, but they got rated, so we know that they're, like, this pretty much confirms they're happening.
I played the first Catherine on PS3? PS2?
That would be PS3. Yeah, original
PS2.
Catherine was PS... Are you sure?
I'm not sure. I thought it was
pretty
PS2.
certain it's PS3.
You're probably right, but I don't know. I remember playing it, and I didn't have a PS3 for that long.
It was released on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Microsoft Windows, PS4, PlayStation Vita, and will now also be coming to the Switch. It was PS3. It's a puzzle game, but it's weird.
It's a stupid puzzle game. I was not a fan of it. I'm not going to buy Full Body, but I am going to buy the XCOM 2 collection. That's
XCOM 2, though, like, yo, this is perfect for the portability, man.
XCOM is phenomenal. I want it on my phone. That would be even better if they can figure out a port on
Jerry
your phone.
will buy XCOM on Switch. I know we will.
I know I am. Have you played XCOM?
I still have not played it because I really liked Mario and Rabbids, which Jerry kept telling me, okay, then you're going to like XCOM. I'm definitely buying XCOM 2 on Switch. That's going to be a definite buy.
Yeah, it's fucking phenomenal. Yeah,
you're going to love it.
What I
hear, 1% miss chance is guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Mario Rabbids, you're going to love
XCOM. If it says
you
have a 99% chance to hit, I've been told if you have a 99% chance to hit,
yes, correct.
You're going to miss every time.
Correct. It's Murphy's Law. Yep.
Because numbers lie.
No. If there's a 99% chance to hit, then it's a 50% chance you're gonna hit. You know what I mean? Because you're either gonna hit 99% or you're gonna hit that 1%.
Numbers lie.
And yeah, that's the XCOM is so frustrating, but it's so fun, man.
I'm gonna love it.
So
it's gonna be
hard.
Great.
Think of Mario Rabbids, but extremely difficult and
with
extremely intricate. Yeah, so that's cool. Don't care about Catherine at all. All right, coronavirus.
This is a big thing, man.
Nintendo Switch likely to suffer global shortage as soon as April. It's hitting every industry, not just gaming.
It's hitting that. PlayStation is canceling out of both PAX East and GDC to protect their workers' health.
Yeah, I mean you can't risk them and risking years and years of falling back on orders because you want to go to fucking convention or it's just that you got to do what you got to do. It sucks. It's a catastrophe over there.
I'm wondering how many companies are gonna pull. How many more companies might pull out of like E3 because
it's going to affect the economy drastically. And China is not in a good position right now in their economy. They've been hurting. The trade war has been killing them. So it's not looking good for China. I do feel bad. It's going to affect global everything. It's affecting the computer industry, the camera industry, the gaming industry, the vaping industry, affecting every sort of every industry.
So much business comes out of China.
Yeah, it really we're going to see
so much production.
How much we rely on China in the next few months. You'll see.
Just one disease, you're global. Then you think the disease is only like a small disease, or it's going to pass over. And now you're going to see just exactly how much damage a disease can do to your infrastructure as a world.
Oh yeah, not good. It's scary. Yeah, and then the PlayStation cancels PAX East, and GDC. All right, next, Animal Crossing. This was big news today. They
had their direct
30-minute
today.
Direct. I watched a little bit of it. Looks pretty cool.
I watched the direct. I have no interest in the game, but I do want to stay knowledgeable of gaming news. So I always watch.
Have you
these
played
video
the original?
I did not play the original. I'm just not a Sims game.
Oh, you haven't even played it.
I've never played it. I've had friends that have played it. Like they were like super in love with it. My friend's grandma literally still plays the original on the GameCube to this day. But they're just not my style. Just I'm not big into like a game I have to keep coming back to and resource management and
you play
Sim
Pokemon.
style.
You're a Pokemon guy.
I collect Pokemon.
No. You play Pokemon.
I collect Pokemon.
There's a lot of things you can collect in Animal Crossing. I think you'll like it more than you think you will because it's not like a sim. I wouldn't call it a sim. It's more of like a collecting game, really. And it's just like, you just want to collect shit and you want to get the coolest house, basically. And I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I'm also not the biggest fan of these types of games, but I probably will pick this up because it's fun.
I see the appeal.
I love
Stardew Valley. See the appeal.
I do love Stardew Valley, and this looks like they're going in that direction, like with also a little bit of Minecraft stuff, where you can like build a world out, and I think that's pretty cool.
Like I always found, like I played Terraria, and I enjoyed that game when I played with friends, but if I played by myself, it got boring quick.
Yeah. It is boring. I'm not gonna lie. It is a little bit boring.
So on the same day that the Animal Crossing comes out, while people are ripping up their weeds and tearing down their trees, I'll be ripping and tearing some fucking demons. Because Doom Eternal comes out the same day.
Oh yeah. Just get.
I'm picking up Doom Eternal.
I agree.
Which, if you haven't seen Doom Eternal, so Doom Eternal's Twitter and the Animal Crossing Twitter have been going back and forth celebrating each game. And there's been a lot of weird crossover fan art of like Isabelle with a chainsaw and Doom Guy planting trees. It's really weird, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, look at this.
This is the greatest crossover.
This is the Samus Doom Guy. This is pretty cool.
Just Isabelle from Animal Crossing and Doom Guy. Just the crossover I didn't know I wanted, but now I have it, and I love it.
Yeah, Doom Eternal looks awesome. Not gonna lie about that.
So, talking about these directs though, so this is like the third game specific direct we've had, but I think we're approaching 200 days or so since our last actual like general direct. And looking at Nintendo's game list for after essentially Animal Crossing. We know that Xenoblade's coming, rumored to be May.
Should I get Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
I liked 2. 2 is a flawed game. It's very anime. So it depends on how much you like anime tropes.
I don't. I fucking hate
and the dub's like, okay, Rex is kind of annoying. I personally liked the game because I liked the combat system. I really did.
That's really all I care about is the combat system.
The combat system's great in that game. I really enjoyed it.
I just don't want to be like I want the random encounter bullshit to be at least somewhat enjoyable.
It's not really random encounters. You see all the enemies on the overworld. You don't
but you know what I mean.
All. But
you know what I mean. The filler. I want the filler to be somewhat enjoyable. These fucking games have so much goddamn filler in them.
It's
all right. It's a no. All right. I won't.
I'd say for you a no.
All right.
Maybe the original Xenoblade you might like more. But I don't think the second one. I think it's just too much. I think you wouldn't like it with the anime.
All right, I take your word for it.
But for me, it was perfect. I liked that game, despite its flaws. So I'm excited for Xenoblade 1, but at the same time, that's a remaster. Mm-hmm. Breath of the Wild 2, 2021, in my opinion. Bayonetta 3, haven't heard any news on that in 2 years. Hopefully Platinum says something about it.
They have that whole thing, their 4 thing going on. So who knows?
And then what else from Nintendo is coming? Like, I don't know what they have. And that's
Metroid
the thing, is they're taking a long time to tell us. I don't think we get Breath of the Wild till 2021. I think at the earliest, it's a November 2020 release. It would be the holiday
You think
release.
we'll see that before we see Metroid?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing. I mean, the reason why it's kind of like the Majora's Mask turnaround time.
Why does Metroid take forever?
Because they're rebuilding the whole thing from the floor. Like
Every time they release a Metroid, it takes forever. You notice that?
Yeah, and the fact when they gave it to Retro Studios last year, they essentially came out and told us, hey, we had to scrap the whole game and pretty much make a new one. Whereas Breath of the Wild 2 is absolutely running on the same engine, if not maybe a little bit beefed up version of that engine that Breath of the Wild was on. One was on. So you already have all your assets pretty much made.
Right.
You've got to make new assets, which does not take as long as making a complete game from the ground up. Hopefully it's optimized better to run on the Switch, because it's not going to come out in the Wii U.
It was a little chuggy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a pretty ambitious game because it wasn't designed for the Switch to begin with. They built that game engine for the Wii U and then tweaked it to make it run on the Switch. That's why it runs better on the Wii U. But that's going to be a fast turnaround. But like Metroid Prime 4 is still going to be a 2021 at the earliest, if not 2022 release. Bayonetta 3, Breath of the Wild 2, Xenoblade.
What about like a new Mario?
I think we see a new Mario Kart before you see a new Mario, honestly.
I'd be down with that.
A new Mario Kart 9?
I mean, I really want another Odyssey.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still one of the best attach rate games for the Switch.
Oh, yeah. Everyone has it.
Despite the fact that it's a re-release of a game that came out on the Wii U, it is one of their best-selling games because Mario Kart is a really good franchise. They're very lucrative.
I wish people got Mario Tennis instead, but no one seems to want to play that game. I was once the #1 world-ranked Mario Tennis player in the world. That was one of my...
you gotta become the #1 ranked...
it was one of my gaming achievements.
You gotta become the #1 ranked driver. Mario Kart driver.
I'm pretty good at that game. I don't know if I could be #1. There's a lot of
I'm too much RNG.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, until we get a direct, and that's the thing. Like, and it's funny to me. So you got PlayStation and Sony. Like they will announce a game 5 years before it releases, and then you're just sitting there waiting 5 years. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake, they announced that like 5 years ago. We're finally getting Part 1, and Nintendo's very good at like going, hey, here's 4 games, big games that are coming, and they're all coming out in 6 months. It's such a different philosophy.
I'm not too worried about it because the Switch is such a portable device, and their third-party support has been good.
It is probably, God, I wonder if it's...
But here's the thing.
The best since the Wii, because the Wii was a prime place for just trash shovelware. That's where a lot of crap went.
We're moving it to the next gen. You cannot make a port from 2 generations away. You know what I mean? To a Switch device.
How do you port something for Switch that's also going to play on PS5?
That's going to and that's going to have fucking 4K 60 frames per second ray tracing support. It's just I wonder how that's going to work for the Switch.
Because at that point it becomes, do we offer people on the Switch a clearly inferior product?
Yeah.
And it's even worth our time to offer that product.
Yeah, and is it even going to... Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting how that works out.
And that's where third-party support might drop.
But as long as indie support is up there, because I've been loving the indies, but they're not...
Indies support's always going to be there.
Hades isn't out on Switch, you know what I mean? Like, some of these like awesome indie games are coming out on PC still, and it's just like, fuck, man. You gotta put that on the Switch. That's how Dead Cells exploded. So hopefully they get their shit together. But
the Switch is easily my hands down place to go for indies.
Yeah.
Such a good console for indies.
It's a great console for everything. It's just unfortunate that...
And you see it because these companies come out and they show you their sales numbers, and almost, 95% of the time, the Switch is their best-selling platform.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just going to have to wait and see how that's going to turn out. That's probably when we'll see a Switch Pro. Like I said, the Japanese likes to really wait to the last fucking second to give it to you.
I don't know what the and that's the thing is like I don't know what the culture is like in Japan. I don't know how in demand 4K is
I mean,
compared
they
to
are
like the
pioneers
West.
of 4K.
Yeah, but I mean I don't know like what their households are still running as
Yeah,
far
I
as
don't know.
1080p or 4K. I don't know if graphical fidelity is as big as a
It doesn't
priority
seem
for
like
them
it.
as it is for story gameplay and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. From all the JRPGs that I play that are complete
Because
fucking
like a lot of the
garbage.
games, I feel like a lot of the games that tout 4K, 60 FPS, or your first person shooters, which I don't think is a big genre in Japan.
They're your big, American blockbusters, like the Game of
Mhm.
Thrones, like the God of
So you're
Wars and
relying on a
Horizons.
company whose main consumer base in their eyes sometimes is their Japanese market,
The
and
problem is this is the
it's
problem is that
it's a disconnect.
they need to not worry about their consumer base. They need to worry about pushing their technology and embracing new technology. You know what I mean? Like there's a new Tegra chip, there's new mobile processors. They could use phone APIs. They can use an OLED screen that, everyone has an OLED screen nowadays. And instead, they want to give it to you
And they've got a
cheap and they want to
deal.
give it to you
They
quick.
have a deal and a good relationship with Nvidia.
Yeah.
They can get a custom chip freaking built, not like just taking a Tegra or taking a Tegra X2 and
They can get a
just
mobile
plopping it
GPU.
in.
They can get
They
like a
could do,
1650 in there.
yeah. It's always going to be. It's going to come down to like price. It's just because that's the thing is a lot of game companies are willing to eat that price on a console,
Yeah, eat it on the console. Exactly.
but
Eat it on the
Nintendo
console.
refuses to eat sales on consoles. They will make a. They always want to be at a price point where they're going to make a profit on the console.
Then make the profit on the high end or on the low end console, and then
I think the
the high end
Switch. I
console
mean,
not.
that's where the Switch Lite comes into play. That's like, cause like if they make a Switch Pro,
I
the
do like
Switch
the Switch
Lite,
Lite.
the Switch Lite is a great product for for what it is.
Yeah, I do like it. Would I buy one? I don't know, but I do
I
like it.
personally wouldn't buy one because I have no need for one. But
I want an OLED screen. I want a phone screen on my Switch. I hate
if
how
I
it's
was
this
a
shitty
family of
plastic 720p screen.
if I was a family of four and I had two kids and I like to play the Switch as well, I would have myself a regular Switch and I'd buy the kids their own Switch. Like, and that's what Nintendo wants. They want 3 Switches in a household. That's going to
Yeah,
be big money.
yeah, but they need more games. They're already running out of games.
They need new games because they've got games. They just
Right, they
need
need
new
new games.
games,
They need like their games. You know what I
and
mean?
that's why we need a direct is so we can get some announcements.
All right. Yeah. What is this? DBZ new character?
So Dragon Ball Fighters is not only getting a new character, but it's getting new mechanics, like straight up new mechanics. And this isn't in the news, but I saw it earlier. Your X versions of moves now only cost half a bar of meter instead of a full bar. There's a new comeback mechanic. Instead of all characters having one assist, they have 3 selectable assists. So similar to like Marvel versus Capcom. Season 3 almost looks like this is an entirely new game, just because of all these mechanic changes, which I think is good because it's needed to happen. The meta was getting really stale, and even the devs were not happy with where the meta was at. Where they kept saying like we didn't want to keep seeing these games that became just like complete like one-sided affairs. They were just either won big or lost big. There was no like actual close matches.
They want that comeback.
They want it to be exciting, especially since they are the ones who are like supporting the like Bandai Namco is the one supporting this like the world tour they keep doing. They don't want people are going to tune out when they see that it's like a lopsided loss. Nobody wants to see a lopsided loss or a lopsided win. They want to see a competitive match. So these changes are more in line to try to make it more competitive, which I like. I like this.
Okay.
Not a lot of fighting games are willing to step outside of the box like this and make really big mechanic changes in between seasons. They'll usually like do it in the next game. Street Fighter V isn't going to sit here and go, we're going to change pretty much a lot, like half of our mechanics to be a different game. They'll do that in Street Fighter 6.
Oh, what's up with this yacht club?
Yacht Club. our Shovel Knight fame. They have a presentation on the February 26th, which is what, Wednesday? Next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Presenting new announcements and updates. Who knows if they have maybe a new IP?
What is Cyber Shadow?
I have no idea.
All right, then we got a trailer here, a Nintendo Switch trailer. Let's check it out. Yeah, it looks like maybe this is their new IP. I haven't seen this game before. It looks like a lot like that, The Messenger, actually.
Nice. I'm a huge fan of Shovel Knight, so I'm excited to see what other things they have going on.
Did you play King of Cards yet? I forgot to tell you, I've been playing that for a bit.
I have. I downloaded it, but have not had a chance to get around to it. It's definitely on my list because I loved Plague Knight and Spectre Knight's campaigns.
It's not as good.
It's not as good. I kind of had a feeling.
It's not as good, but they have this card game that they introduced to it, which is actually pretty cool. It's not, it's not a very intricate card game. It's kind of more of like a numbers, RNG thing, but that does add like, I like these like mini card games in games, like the way how Witcher did Gwent. It just adds that level of like collectability to the game.
Okay.
The problem is I don't like King Knight, and I don't like how he's like this jumping guy. I just don't like it.
I feel like Propeller Knight would have been a better knight to have done a gameplay around, because like that's the thing is like with the different knights is how do they play different to Shovel Knight, but still keep within this world, still keep within the mechanics, generally speaking, like the physics. Plague Knight, when they did his, he made a lot of sense. Spectre Knight made a ton of sense with the wall jumping.
Yeah.
King Knight didn't really feel like he had anything, even in his boss fight, that felt like it would translate to something interesting.
It's just not as...
And that's like Propeller Knight would have been cool as hell to have seen like some interesting movement options.
Yeah. I mean, King Knight just feels more frustrating, in my opinion. Like, it's just you don't feel like you have as much control, especially when things get pretty chaotic. It's a little frustrating, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as the other ones. But they have that card aspect to it, and the levels are pretty cool. They do. Yeah, maybe they're great at platforming.
They did that showdown mode where it's almost like a Smash Brothers mode.
Oh, right.
So there's that. I don't know if that's even out yet, so maybe they'll update on this. All I know is Yacht Club, one of the indie developers to keep an eye on going forward with maybe a new IP as well. So I will be checking this out.
I don't know what Cyber Shadow is. I'm gonna have to check that out. I love indie games, dude. Maybe I'll do an indie game section on the channel, like review indie games. 'Cause I play so many of them. I spend so much money on indie games.
Hey, do it.
I mean, Scourgebringer, Wolcen, what was the one I was just playing?
Hades.
I mean, these are amazing games. I mean, just the first 5 minutes of Hades alone is enough to kick the shit out of DBZ fucking Kakarot bullshit. That game is so fucking bad. I can't believe anyone bought it. Can I return it? Can I return it back? Can I get a refund on the PlayStation eStore?
Good luck with that one.
I just emailed them. This game is so bad. You better give me my money back. All right.
Just leave a reply in there saying.
Wow, this is pretty interesting. The Final Fantasy VII remake file size is 100 gigs. That's fucking
this is apparently
gigantic.
Was leaked from a box art.
What was Red
Dead? Red Dead was about that. It was two Blu-ray discs, which is what Final Fantasy VII is coming on.
Red Dead was 99 gigs. Meanwhile, you needed 107 gigabytes to install the game. This is probably going to push up to like 110.
And this might be before even day one patch. We don't even know.
I like this because this tells me there's a lot of shit.
What I will say is I love the comments from people who don't know what they're talking about going, oh, the only reason this file size is so large is because they're using 4K 60 FPS cutscenes that are uncompressed. You know how big 4K uncompressed video files are? You do video editing.
Yeah.
You know that's a crock of bullshit.
Yeah, unless there's like 2 or 3 cutscenes.
Which, at 1 minute and a half each, you know how big.
They wouldn't be uncompressed. That doesn't even make any sense.
There's no way they can be uncompressed.
That doesn't even make any fucking sense.
When you're
the game is just big.
when you're looking at 200 megabits per second of video in 4K uncompressed.
That's pretty low. I mean, it's up
Yeah.
there. It's up there. 60 frames per second. You gotta remember that's double.
You watch the opening bombing mission cutscene alone. That would be 100 gigs. I feel like
it just doesn't make sense to do it uncompressed.
No, it doesn't.
Just physically,
people don't know what they're talking about.
They don't. That makes no sense.
They just spew bullshit out of the goddamn mouse.
Yeah, it's 100 gigs because the game's probably massive.
The game looks beautiful. It looks fantastic. All the model art, like all the designs, all of the character models look freaking really good.
Yeah. But that's a good sign. I like these big file sizes.
I'm gonna have to clear my hard drive on my PS4.
I wonder when we're gonna get the first 200 gigabyte file game. You think that's gonna be
that might actually go down. No, I actually think it might go down.
What game?
I think
Last of Us?
That the file sizes will go down.
I disagree.
As they move towards solid state drives, as they move towards
but that doesn't
these other things.
That doesn't mean the file size will go down.
I don't think they're gonna bloat to 200 though.
I don't know, man.
I think as they get better,
we're going up to 8K.
I still think as they get better at compression, I don't think you're gonna
possibly.
I maybe the most unoptimized game companies might let their software bloat that large, but
storage is cheap nowadays. I mean,
it's also crazy when you look at how small Nintendo game file sizes are.
Yeah, you can fit them on your fucking thumb drive.
Just how crazy, not just like because they're compressed, but just how good at optimization and compression Nintendo is.
Yeah, I mean they're okay at it. They're not. I would still say they're not the best, but they are good at optimizing their games for the most part.
For the most part, when they're built for the system they're on.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey runs phenomenal.
When I see like Red Dead Redemption 2 and I play that game and you have hundreds of hours of just immense detail and then you only find out that it's only 100 gigabytes. Like I can burn through 100 gigabytes just recording this podcast. Then it makes you really appreciate how good they actually really are at optimization and compression because it's not just like compressing textures.
I had to clear
the whole game engine.
I had to clear out all of my D&D video files because they were 138 gigabytes of just video files.
Yeah, man, it eats
and
up
that's
quick.
Not at 4K. That's not anything, and that's still like over 100 something hours of video.
Right, and like think about a fucking entire world. Compressing that to 100 gigabytes is pretty good. That's pretty fucking good. I think we're just in that era now where 100 gigabyte. We're still a holdover from like the thumb drive era where 32, was like $20, but 100 gigabytes is really not that much.
I bought 128.
It's pretty impressive.
I bought 228 gig flash drives for I think like $45.
Yeah. Yeah, and in 5 years it's only gonna get. But I think we're gonna see 200 gigabyte games. In the next
They're already making solid state drives, like flash drives. That's a thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's been a thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's been a thing. Well, now they're NVMe, where they're literally like it looks like a piece of gum, and they're fitting terabytes on them, and they're not getting hot, and they're really quick. They're much faster than any sort of solid state drive or hard disk spinning drive. It's just it's crazy how that part of technology progresses so much faster than anything else. Hello, wife.
That's a good deal, a Micro Center. We don't have any Micro Centers around here. I don't know of.
Yeah, you do. I just was at one yesterday.
Yeah, I have not.
Ardmore in Pennsylvania. It's a little bit of a trip.
Yeah, I'm in Jersey. You're in Philly. It's different.
Yeah. You're right across the bridge. You're literally like 10 minutes away from me.
You'll pay that $5 get out of Jersey fee.
You gotta get an Easy Pass, man. Easy Pass life is great.
It's still gonna cost me $5.
True.
Just how it cost me $5 is different.
But there is a Micro Center, and I highly suggest you go there because it's awesome. I was literally just there, and every time I walk in there, I'm just the happiest boy alive. I'm like a kid in a candy store. There's so many cool things there. Dude, they set up a racing sim section where you can buy like this is the only store in the world, in the country, where you could buy a racing seat at the store. And I was this close to buying it. I was like, I have a basement that we're not doing anything with. I could spend like $2,000 on a racing seat,
Jesus
right?
Christ.
I would love that, dude. Micro Center, baby. Micro Center, St. James and Ardmore. Shout out to Micro Center. I will promote them forever. All right. What's up? What do we got next? Where are we at? Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We got a couple more stories and we're done. Rumored Battle Royale mode Warzone will launch in March 2020. Yes, I heard this. This looks okay.
Kind of felt like it was a matter. I mean, like after they had Blackout in the last one, it kind of just made sense they'd eventually add another,
it's a big success.
VR mode.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised.
I actually asked somebody, I'm like, how different would this one be to Blackout? And pretty much just because Black Ops 4 and this game are done by different companies, and they play completely different. So this one will play different. So I'm like, okay.
I mean, for the most part, but to me, it's still a little, Fortnite and PUBG and Apex are still. That's how you want to do a battle royale, because Call of Duty's the time to kill is too quick. So they do these weird tricks to lengthen that.
I mean, I feel like their main competitor with this is PUBG.
Yeah.
It's that more realistic.
I would say more like Apex, actually.
I don't know about that, because Apex's whole shtick is not just like the gunplay, but it's the characters. It's the unique legends. It's like the Overwatch style.
True.
Whereas
but see, the thing with Call of Duty,
this is tackling your more realistic battle royale shooter, which is like a PUBG.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like from playing Blackout, it doesn't play like a PUBG. It plays more like an Apex, where it's more movement based and it's a lot faster, and you do get like power ups and there are characters and classes and shit.
Like I said, though, that was Blackout. I don't know if we can compare this to Blackout, really.
I mean, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't imagine that it's any different.
Wasn't it different developers for Black Ops series and Modern Warfare series, or is this the same?
No, I think they are different. This is Infinity Ward, where the other one was that other company.
So apparently, it's gonna be twice the size of Blackout's map.
You see, if that's the case,
system similar to that of Apex.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably gonna be a lot similar to Apex.
It probably is, because like you read this, allows for downed players to respawn by battling it out 1v1 in a prison called Gulag. It seems like they're really taking the cues from Apex.
Yeah, where it's faster, the guns shoot a lot quicker. I mean, it's not
Which
realistic.
I'm wrong. I love Apex. I mean, I'm still a fan of Apex, so I'm still a fan of the gunplay in that game.
Mm-hmm. I think you would actually really like the new Duty. It's actually really good if
I played
Apex.
I played the beta. I did the beta.
And you liked it, right?
I did it. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm probably gonna wait till it goes on a good sale.
See, that's the thing with Call of Duty 2 is like you can't. It's kind of like Madden. Like you kind of have to get it when it comes out. I don't like that. But
these aren't the kinds of games I want to be dropping 60 on.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I'll gladly drop 60 on a re-release of a Japanese RPG.
I know. You're out of your mind.
My priorities are completely different.
Animated Diablo series and animated Overwatch TV show seem to be in the works. I mean, who gives a fucking shit? I mean, the animated Diablo series sounds okay, but an animated Overwatch...
Dope. I mean, Overwatch is already animated as it is.
Who's going to watch it? We want more Henry Cavill as Witcher. That's what we all want.
Watch Castlevania and The Witcher.
Are they going to watch
Actually,
Overwatch?
Castlevania Season 3 is coming out like in a few, like 2 weeks.
Are they going to watch Overwatch is the question. I don't know.
Where's my Team Fortress 2 production? We're going to get that TV show. Come on.
Dude, I want to watch Witcher Season 2 so bad.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Toss a sub to your No Life.
Well, no, it was a toss a sub to your Twitcher was a cover I heard, like a parody
really?
cover.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I like that. That's good.
Toss a sub to your Twitcher.
God, that show is so fucking fun. And last, big news, big shocking cultural news.
Did you see it?
Sonic, no, absolutely not.
I went and saw it in theaters.
Sonic the Hedgehog is box office number one. Biggest opening weekend for a video game movie in North America.
It was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect it to
I
be.
put it on the exact same level as I put Detective Pikachu, which I enjoyed, but like, it
And see,
wasn't
like,
a great movie. It
if
was good.
you are like the if we're American Idol, you are the Randy of the group. You know what I mean? Like a lot
Dude,
of
I don't
things
know
are
about
good.
that one,
You like a
dog.
lot of you like a
I
lot
don't know
of
about
things.
that one, dog.
You like to you're pretty forgiving with your reviews.
It can be.
I would imagine this is actually dog shit movie.
It's just a very safe paint by the numbers movie, which is its
Right.
biggest problem.
Right.
As far as the design goes, they nailed the design of Sonic. The redesign's actually really good.
Yeah, I mean,
There was jokes in it that I laughed at, which I was expecting to see a train wreck. So my expectations going in were low.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little low expectations.
I had low expectations for sure.
A couple laughs. That's.
I know. I mean, the movie was for the most.
Okay.
It was never bad. I never sat at the movie and went, I
Yeah.
don't want to be here. I don't want to watch this.
Right.
I'm hoping in the future, because of the success at the box office for a video movie, that they make a second one and actually do it some justice and not just make it this safe kind of, because we've all seen that movie of take character, put them in real world.
Yep.
It's the same trope. It's the same jokes. It's the same story. That's what it is. It's a fish out of water tale. That's all it is. We saw it with the Smurfs. We saw it with Garfield. It's every time they've done it. They've always done it.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, as I look at the Smurfs first movie, that was bad. Like when they did that, but then they made another Smurfs movie where it was like almost all CGI except for the one only human who was the Gargamesh, and a lot of people actually liked that movie. I feel like if they make a second movie where it's just almost all CGI, where it's Sonic and the Sonic world, but with Jim Carrey, who, by the way, actually was fantastic in the movie. He was the highlight of the movie.
Well, that's the thing with Jim Carrey. He's so good, dude.
He channels it's his best 90s performance since the 90s.
I do like
He's channeling like peak Ace Ventura in this movie.
I like the sound of that.
It's
Peak
good.
Mask.
Yeah, like it's that era of Jim Carrey and his energy and jokes. Like he's just good. He's really good.
Oh, this game Dreams came out.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I kind of want to check it out.
It seems it's less of a game and more like it's like how Little Big Planet was a game.
Yeah,
it's a creator's dream.
But I saw some crazy shit that people were making.
People made some of the Sonic unreleased games in it. Somebody made a Mario 64.
How the fuck are they doing that?
It's one of those things where it's like an engine, like a game engine, like how people make stuff in Unreal.
Yeah, but they're doing it with a controller in their hand. That's insane to me.
It's really interesting.
Some really smart people out there.
I think somebody even mentioned it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these game companies start looking at productions that people make in Dreams and start going, hey, you want to work for our company as a game dev?
We'll give you a real engine to work in.
Yeah. You want to be a developer? We see your ideas are cool. I'm always down for more people who are fans and create things as hobbies to enter the industry. Because those are the people that aren't in it for the money. Those are the people that are there to like make good products.
Yeah.
To make things that they enjoy.
See, the thing with game development that's so different from film development is that it's like you can't just jump into game development. You know what I mean? Like you have to have prior coding and programming skills, where with like film, you don't really need that. Like you can just be a lover of film. I mean, you got to be good at it, but you don't need to have like any resources to get started.
And that's one of the things, like filmmaking, and it brings into the argument like artistic. And filmmaking, you can go against the grain really hard and say it was an artistic decision, and that could have meaning. Mm-hmm. If you're bad at coding and bad at programming, you can't just say that was an artistic decision. You were just bad at it.
Right. Yeah, precisely. Yeah, I mean, it's. I always found that fascinating. Like people say, like the similarities are there, but it's not when it comes to developing. Like a fan of gaming can't just go and make a game, where a fan of film can do that. They can, like a couple $1,000 to buy a camera, and they can get their friends.
A fan of gaming can do some things in gaming, but dev is not one of them.
Yeah, unless they have prior.
If they enjoy
schooling.
good storytelling in Tolden games, they can work with a developer to create something that plays the story they want to tell.
And how rare will that ever?
That's how you get storytelling through gameplay.
How rare is that someone can find a developer and then has the resources to pay that developer to spend all that time to make this, this chance of a game. I mean, it's just something that's
and indie games are a big risk. And you look back at the Indie Game the movie, and just the moments before Super Meat Boy came out, and how just nailed to the wall those guys were.
The bar by the shelf downstairs. That little like glass bar that you have.
Yeah,
I'm almost done.
Like you said, if you look back at Indie Game the movie, when
the
guys behind Team Meat Boy,
yeah,
before that game went live on Xbox Live, and they had a problem before it went live.
Yeah,
they were completely up in the air whether or not they were either going to make good money or they were going to fail miserably and have to find what to do with the rest of their lives.
Yeah. And that can happen in film as well. I mean, it does happen in film a lot, but it's way less resources. Like, you're not spending years on making this, like, and you're only spending like, relatively, maybe you're spending $50,000 if you're an indie budget. I mean, you're making a game. It's such a bigger risk, and it's just so much higher stakes.
When you're working with an extremely small staff and you're trying to quality assurance everything yourself, that you're also developing, that you're also coding, you're hopefully have a source of income besides that, which means you're doing this on your free time.
Right.
If you already have a base to start from.
It's almost impossible. It's pretty crazy that.
It's crazy.
I wonder is there any like. I'm sure there are, but I want to know like what types of games that they've created. Like I know there was the what's her name? There was that one girl who did it. I know Stardew Valley, I think, was developed by.
Was that developed by Chucklefish, or was that only published by them?
I think it is developed by Chucklefish. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because Chucklefish Development, they did More Groove, they did a bunch of stuff. But like, you have to have that first property before you really like kind of
find your groove.
Unless you are able to do an indie game where you have the support of a company behind you, and I say that with like Ori and the Blind Forest and Microsoft's backing.
That's like really the only way I can imagine anyone doing, because who has the money?
Well, I mean, that's why Indie Game the movie is one of my favorites, because that was a time before these companies were really super willing to back indies like that.
Yeah,
they were willing to give you maybe a front page.
It was such a great documentary.
Front space. But as far as it came to development and all that, you were on your own.
Yeah, like that one guy.
You didn't have the financial
lost
backing.
His mind. The Fez guy.
Oh, the Fez guy was already crazy to begin with, and then once Fez came out, he lost it.
Lost his goddamn mind.
Good game's great. Fez is a great game. But,
I haven't played it, actually.
Out of his mind. It's a really good game.
Has he made anything else since? I don't think so, right?
No, he completely lost his mind.
He's out.
He was trying to work on Fez 2, but just people got tired of the guy and not, they loved the game, but he just was tired to
And like,
to
if you're losing your mind on Fez, why make Fez 2? Make something else. You know what I mean? Just do something else. Make a different game. You're going to go crazy.
Well, I mean, look at Yacht Club when they made Shovel Knight. I mean, they've milked it for all it's worth at this point, but like before that, Shovel Knight was, and then that's where the Kickstarter kind of came in, and you get so many games that are Kickstarted that just wind up doing nothing or wind up being scams. Then you've got games like Shovel Knight that were able to make something out of themselves.
Yeah,
but they made a quality product.
All right, I do want to bring up one last thing before we get out of here. It's a tech story, and I just want to know your opinion on it. It's kind of like a political thing. Let me bring it up. So Twitter will be testing a feature that lets users label false or misleading tweets by politicians, taking a cue from sites like Wikipedia and Reddit. What do you think about this sort of initiative that these tech companies are doing?
So that the
idea is,
it's the idea of self-policing.
Yes, and that gets Lord of the Flies.
It can be abused, though.
That's the thing.
Because if you have a group of people that, even though if something's true, they want to just you say it's not, they just have a gang mentality.
Or so they truly believe it's not true.
Who's on the other end of that response, of that like report?
And then
how many reports do you need to before you go? Are you bringing it up to a committee to them then fact check it and then verify?
And like how many of these tweets, like this is where it gets hairy too. It's like the president says, I have the biggest concession, or what is it called? The speech that he did, presidential, not the concession speech, the inauguration. I had the biggest inauguration. And it's like, is that something that...
what happens when...
Because that's verifiable. That you can actually have objective data.
But what happens when half of it's true and half of it's a lie?
Right. What if he's just being hyperbolic? You know what I mean? What if he's just saying, like, it was the big, blah, blah, blah.
At the end of the day, nothing's going to replace common sense and doing your own research.
And that's what I wanted to bring this up. Do you think that this is like just like a stupid thing to even do? Because it's just like, you're going to have to do your own research and have common sense anyway. There's always going to be people who either don't have...
I feel like we just need citations to be readily available.
I mean, that might be a better...
You might be better off just saying, hey, can you provide a citation for that?
Yeah. Or have people link citations. Like they link citations to disprove it, rather than saying this is misleading, just to be like, this shows an alternate. I mean, they do that anyway in the comments. You know what I mean? They do it anyway in the comments.
How many people are just going to mark Earth as flat, like tweets?
That's just what I'm saying. I mean, it's just, that's another thing too. It's like that kind of stuff, it gets even trickier. You know what I mean? When people start bringing up Earth,
and how do you prevent bots from abusing it?
Yes, and then you have like anti-vax stuff, and I mean, it's so tricky, man. It's such a slippery slope. This is why 4chan is the most pure fucking social media site on the web.
Just feels like people are way too lazy to do their goddamn research.
Well, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see how this all. I mean, Reddit is gonna do it. I mean, this is gonna be very fascinating to see how this plays out. I don't like the idea of tech companies having this much control over information, but we kind of have no choice.
Also, shout out to the fact that today is 7 years since the announcement of the PS4.
Wow.
Like 7 years for a systems from announcement to man.
It's a good 7 years.
PS4 is a great console.
Had a good 7 years. What was the best PS4 game? Horizon?
Exclusive to PS4?
Yes.
Yeah.
God of War?
It's between...
I mean, the ones that I think
Horizon,
of are the ones that I'm thinking of have been released in the last few years.
Spider-Man.
The last few games, right?
Persona 5.
I can't put that up there. I loved it, but
I will.
I can't put it up there.
I can and I will.
I can't put it up there.
Absolutely going up there.
I would easily debate you on God of War as a far better game than Persona.
God of War, Spider-Man, and Horizon are like the three, those are like the top three.
Yeah. I would
Hopefully we can get a lot more games like those, but immediately on PS5.
I'd probably put Death Stranding at the top of that list.
Gonna definitely put that
just kidding.
Nowhere near the top of that list.
I'm just kidding. Hey, if you have Persona 5 up there, I'm gonna put Death Stranding up there.
I would rather grinding simulator than walking simulator.
All right, let's get out of here. Thank you, Doobie, for chilling. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll come back at you next week on time. Sorry, guys. I was in the midst of some stuff this week and last week. But I am back. The office is set up. Maybe I'll set up a camera, like a good camera pointing at me instead of a webcam this time. But I kind of like the webcam. It's personal. You know what I mean? I still got the good mic. All right. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.